mystery was posted to a now deleted YouTube channel called 112 Dirtbag, supposedly named after Route 112, where Maura disappeared, and taking the moniker Dirtbag from what Maura's father had called the perpetrator of her disappearance. In the video, which has been re-uploaded, you can see this man, Olsen, laughing very creepily at the camera. So, as you can probably imagine, this crazy old fucker whose name is closely related to a cold case of a missing woman who is just laughing at this camera. He's going to involve himself in the investigation. This is not that funny. I don't know why he's laughing like that. Channels around, it got deleted. This is the only surviving video, but there were apparently other videos, which we do not have, in which he taunted Maura's family. Dude's a fucking troll, an asshole troll. He also apparently suggested in these videos that he had information about Maura's disappearance, but that, obviously, because the videos no longer exist, cannot be substantiated at this time. Police would begin to investigate this old bastard, but despite the video, they found no evidence that linked him to her disappearance. Was he just a troll? Was there a deeper connection there? I have no idea. Regardless, Maura has not been found still, you know, and why would you celebrate this 7 years after on the anniversary? It just seems strange. Is he just a fucking weird psychopath addicted to true crime? Who knows what's going on here? After trolling Maura Murray's family, he moved on to other targets, though. He even made threats towards the family of a fellow named James Renner, who wrote a book called True Crime Addict. James covered Maura's disappearance in his book. This was in 2012, by the way. Once again, very important to note that a lot of this could not be substantiated. These claims are bold. I don't really see a reason why James would lie, beyond maybe drumming up some hype for his book. Not sure. In a post from July 2015, James talks about Alden Olsen uploading a video of James Renner's son in 2012, and also how Alden sent a Photoshop picture of James next to Kenny from South Park, the character who dies in every episode, basically. James also claims that the Northwestern District Attorney, Stephen Gagney, I'm not sure what his name is, talked to him at length about Alden Olsen, and then said that they just don't do anything about him because he's just trolling. He's like a fucking weird freak online. He's just making strange videos. But this video, like you can imagine, was taken down because it was about a man's child. That's against terms of service, even in 2012 YouTube. Apparently, Alden was investigated and not seen as a credible threat, although James claims that he was, and he found that in 2007 he was arrested for threatening to murder his own brother and sister. Now, search for this, couldn't find it myself, couldn't verify it, so take it with what you will. James is an interesting fella, writes a good book. We did verify that Stephen Gagney was in fact the district attorney, though. James had another very bizarre post in 2015, September of that year, in which he suggested that Alden Olsen could have been the inspiration behind a murder that happened on a live TV broadcast. Apparently, a comment on the original Happy Anniversary video, before it was deleted, was a comment of a fellow named Vester Lee Flanagan. Now, I personally remember this and was sort of scared because the dude, after he murdered two people, 24-year-old Allison Parker and 27-year-old Adam Ward on live TV, he drove up 81 and 66 in Virginia, where I'm from and where I was working at the time. Like, my place of work was along 81, and the police and stuff like went by and we heard it. It was wild. It was pretty, I mean, I'm not involved in any way. Quite frankly, I probably should just cut all of this out, but you know, Vester Lee Flanagan, piece of shit related to this guy, I thought it'd be interesting to say. It's f***ed up. It's horrible. So while Alden didn't commit these murders, obviously it has nothing to do with him necessarily, but the comment is from a guy who is an actual murderer, which is not a great look for anyone involved. So why is this whole thing really notable? There's a lot of cold cases. We've talked about missing 411 before. One of the reasons that this whole thing is remembered by so many people is because it's sort of the first crime mystery of the social media age, and it's a notable incident. Maura disappeared in February 2004, and Facebook came about in February 2004. There was no YouTube or Twitter at the time, so it was mainly talked about on a website called Web Sleuths. As early as 2005, people were trying to investigate this. So it was like the first time really ever that social media played a part in trying to solve a crime, which unfortunately still is unsolved to this very day. There's Facebook pages, MySpace pages that are made dedicated to finding her, but alas, nothing. Blippi's Harlem Shake. Now, this is one story that I'm a little bit nervous to talk about because people have gotten strikes for talking about this, or copyright strikes, whatever, because it involves a loved childhood hero of many people. You know Blippi, that little fella? Well, Blippi, he's not exactly the Mr. Rogers of modern media, as many would claim he is. No one is claiming that, by the way. No one is he's portraying himself as a really nice, cute, funny guy.
So much to learn about, it'll make you wanna shout, Blippi!
Hey, it's me, Blippi!
With millions upon cajillions of people flocking to his fucking child channel. I don't even know, man. How do you have Blippi learns about jungle animals for kids, educational video for dollars. How about on the autoplay up next, you show the Blippi Harlem Shake? How about you show that to them kids? Get them young, dude. Break them in young. Expose them to the world. Just kidding. Maintain innocence for as long as you possibly can. The world is a terrible place, and sheltering your kids, controlling what they're exposed to, I believe, has a very important place in logic and rationality of being a human being in the modern day. Did he make the light brown? Did they make the light brown? I told him to do that edit specifically, so nobody gets credit for that except for me. All right. In fact, from now on, I edit all the videos. I do all of it. This dude gets a lot of views, like an absurd amount of views. You've probably seen him, and if you haven't, your nephew definitely has. Your little brother, your little sister, whatever. This dude is a child fucking magnet. I don't understand it at all. Here's him riding an elephant ride.
Hey, hello! Whoa, whee!
This guy's for sure acoustic. I just can't remember a time in which I would have ever thought that that's entertaining. I remember very deep into my childhood, I thought I'm a map. I thought Dora was for mouth-breathing troglodytes when I was a child, like a 4-year-old kid. I would see my sister going, yeah! My sister's name is Mackenzie, and she looks like Dee Dee from f***ing Rugrats. Just like her. She was like, yeah, map! And I was like, dude, what's wrong with you? Let's watch the Outdoor Channel. Let's watch Jim Shockey. Also, another really strange thing about Blippi is that he's sort of Guy Fawkes in that he's evolved to a larger thing than just one guy. One guy isn't Blippi. People play Blippi. It's a lineage of entertainers that play Blippi. So there's a lot of lore and canon in the Blippi universe, which I'm really not that interested in learning. To be completely honest with you all, I want to know more about this Harlem Shake video, though. Do you remember Harlem Shake? Because that shit was hot. That was a hot commodity for a while. By the way, Filthy Frank started that. How crazy is that? Kind of a weird little thing, but I mean, it's a weird little thing for you. In modern times, Blippi is synonymous with kid-friendly, educational-centered content, and he's amassed nearly 19 million followers on YouTube from his angelic 777 videos. Big merchandising opportunities. He's got toys. This guy is an absolute legend amongst mouth-breathing troglodytes, aka children. Look at all these Blippi toys, dude. He's got to be a billionaire, by the way. Let's see. Blippi net worth. Holy shit. That is insane. He's gonna send a fucking hitman and kill me, probably. He's got so much money. I didn't realize that. Oh my god. But you know, and the content, by the way, is completely fine. It's just children's content, boring for me, a 27-year-old man that lacks a mustache. But for a baby, you know, that shit is hot. That's awesome. That is like, I can't peel my eyes away. I'm like a moth to a flame. Behind all that, you may be surprised to learn that his charming smile, his high-pitched squealing voice, and behind that massive child toy empire that this man has built is a dark and troubling past. One that the original Blippi, Stephen John, has worked very hard to bear and ensure that it will never see the light of day. I understand that, and this isn't meant to, you know, like this guy, just because he had a really weird past doesn't mean he shouldn't be making children's content. Just kidding. Wait till you hear about this. What if I told you that before Stephen John was the beloved Blippi, he was known as Steezy Grossman? Now, this is an interesting name because it's weird. It's very bad. It's a terrible name. So is Blippi, but this is even worse. Steezy Grossman, to me, is the next big up-and-coming kickstream. That's who that is to me in my head. That's like a massive piece of shit freakazoid with a huge audience of current-day kick viewers. Content that's definitely adult-oriented, etc. You know, and that's what it was. It actually was adult-oriented content, a huge, drastic difference from his Blippi's content now. Steven's content now, I guess. There's even a masterpiece of a video called Turd Boy, in which Steven plays the titular role of the Turd Boy. It's about getting pregnant from the bum copulation, butt copulation, and then having a poop baby be born, and it struggles to fit in life, and it is absolutely disgusting, okay? And it's a fake trailer from a movie in which Turd Boy finds love. Absolutely disgusting, horrible, absolute trash. I hate it. It's gross. There's just shit and stuff in it. I don't think I would ever find that funny, to be honest. But maybe a mouth-breathing troglodyte might. In fact, in case you're wondering, this shit was critically acclaimed at the 2012 Machinima Film Festival. Also, the fabled Shit Movie Film Festival. This thing is like recognized. It's a legend in the film sphere, in the poop-centric film sphere. And this website that holds this video no longer exists on the web, as you can imagine. It's on archive.org. You can't really get rid of it. It's never truly gone. And it's important to take note of the turd boy nature of Steven's character. Turds, poop, turds. It's a bit of a theme in this whole thing. It's a bit of a theme. Steezy Grossman is the complete and total opposite of Blippi's persona and the new channel. He made videos about excrement on top of Turd Boy, about genitalia, things like that. He had a video titled Pee Troubles, which we couldn't find a re-upload of. There was also a, yet again, critically acclaimed by the Shit Movie Film Festival movie called Genie. Incredible. Then, we cannot forget about Underwear Man, which was a man on the street type interview style video. By the looks of the thumbnail, the video's not there anymore. But the dude is like a sketch comedian, like Julian Smith or anyone, improv everywhere, etc. He just had a bit of a unique twist back in the day. He loved NSFW things. This is not a terrible thing, you know, everyone makes funny jokes and stuff. But now he's has become our version of Mr. Rogers, unfortunately, for these little children that are watching him. These like little infants. I think they're babies, like actually babies. I don't know though. Who watches Blippi? I don't. I tell you that much is for sure. Not since I was 20. So how does this tie into the Harlem Shake? Well, we have Turd Boy. We have Steezy Grossman. You get the theme. Gross guy, turd, Harlem Shake. In a video that I cannot show on my channel without getting a strike from probably Steezy Grossman and also YouTube, the man himself, Steezy, aka Blippi, is in a bathroom with his friend. Harlem Shake is playing, and Steezy's sitting on the toilet with his pants around his ankles, and when that drop hits, the scene shifts a little bit. Boom. Do the Harlem Shake. And then you have Steezy, and you've got his buddy. Steezy's naked. He's got a helmet on. He's on the toilet dancing. His buddy's laying down there upside down on the wall. He's naked, except for goggles and a swimming cap. Those are to protect him from what's coming next. A torrential downpour. I'm talking inclement weather, the likes of which you have never seen. Of feces erupts from Blippi. I mean, Steve, whatever his name is. It goes over the walls, the floor, his upside down friend, maybe even into his upside down friend. It is disgusting. Blippi Steezy's laughing about this all when this is happening. His friend's gagging, and both of them are trying to shake their legs to do the Harlem Shake while they're it's so disgusting. I cannot even imagine how you're able to remain friends. Hopefully this guy works with Blippi now. Honestly, I hope this guy is like a ride or die long-term bestie. Hopefully this is like his manager or something. That would be so funny. They're still like doing business with each other. And he's cleaning shit out of off of his face after all these years. A couple of gentlemen they are. One with a powerful fecal flow. So how does the dancing poop man, the Harlem Shake legend, or Turd Boy, whatever you want to call him, become a children's channel? And I'm not saying that it's not possible, and I'm not saying that it's bad and this guy's like ever done any, I mean, just poop, right? Like, it's not like weird, it's weird, but it's not like anything horrible, you know? It's not illegal. It's just weird. How does he go from that to the children's channel? That's just it's just strange. I get thinking it's funny and maybe like, you know, you get too deep. He's an entertainer at heart. And he just really wants to be like Jack. Like if Steve-O started a children's channel, it would kind of make sense. But that's because we know Steve-O at this point. Like he's kind of changed in this new thing. But Blippi, he was a flash in our minds as Steezy Grossman, and he is now just Blippi. So it's different, but it's also the same. So I don't really know. I mean, Steve-O's done worse. Like, let's be real. Way more disgusting stuff. Steve-O's fucking disgusting. but I love him. And I would let my kid watch his. Nah, no, I wouldn't. As you can imagine, Steezy Grossman, it's impossible to find anything on the internet, and honestly, this video will probably get deleted. Here's a drawing of it. BuzzFeed got a hold of this a while back, and Stephen John's attorney sent them a cease and desist, asserting that they take it down, asserting the copyright over the video and try to remove it. So they created an artist's rendition. This is basically what it is. This is a classic case of the pendulum swinging, and it's swinging really, really, really hard. One extreme to another. It perfectly encapsulates the complexity of the human condition in it's hard to say any other word, a perfect metaphor. You've got Steezy Grossman and you've got Blippi. Yin and yang, all right? Yin and yang, God, the devil, Jedi, Sith, all right? Whataburger, and what would be another one? HEB. I feel like kind of a bringing this up, but the dude's rich as so who cares? He's not a struggling actor. He's not struggling. He's doing just fine. My video is not going to have any effect on his massive empire of children's toys, etc. He does regret this past heavily. Pretty hilarious, honestly. I do feel bad for him, though. Grape Coon. So this story is a sad one. It follows a little Humboldt penguin named Grape Coon. Little fella got his name from a purple tag on his wing. You can call it that. And like I mentioned, it's a sad story, one that has been immortalized into stone, one that you should know about. Or not stone necessarily, but ones and zeros. Grape Coon started off just like any other little penguin fella. Back in 1996, he was born, and he lived at the Hamura Zoo in Tokyo. A cute little zoo. Man, the Japanese even do animal cruelty in a kawaii way. This shit looks very attracting. All right, I want to become a Disney adult, but for the Hamura Zoo in Tokyo. Little fun fact about penguins, if you didn't know, they're monogamous. They find a life partner kind of similar to how humans believe that their relationships are naturally, which humans are not naturally monogamous, but penguins are. All right, and this little horny bastard named Grape Coon in the zoo one day met a female penguin named Midori. He stretched his arms out and made his call, and by God, it was adorable. Midori reciprocated, and they became a couple. And Midori would be Grape Coon's mate for life. That's how penguin love works. They find one, and then that's it. You know, it's pretty adorable. Later on in March of 2006, the Tobu Zoo, located in Miyashiro, Saitama, Japan, would finish their penguin enclosure. They then needed to fill those enclosures up with penguins. So, Grape Coon and his partner Midori were transferred to the zoo to fill the place. They slowly adjusted to their new home. At first, things were going swimmingly. Penguin joke. You know, Grape and Midori were adjusting. They even had their own son together named Handpen. It's Hanpen. I don't know. I like to say things wrong so people comment. But disaster struck. The baby was removed from the enclosure and away from its parents. And then that little f***er was sent to the Itowaga Zoo, somewhere else in Japan. And Midori and Grape were never able to see their son again. The zoo claimed that the child relocation was to prevent inbreeding, which makes sense, I guess, right? But Handpen, the little child, would eventually breed with his foster mother. So, bit of a fucking freak. These penguins are freaks, dude. Weirdos. After all this happened, people believed that the removal of Handpen from Grape and Midori would damage their relationship, their monogamous relationship. And that is true, it seems, but something that happened later on really sealed the deal and made it far worse. In 2010, Grape Coon got sick and was separated from the other penguins in his enclosure to undergo treatment. This included his partner Midori. So treatment goes on, Grape Coon gets healthy again, and he goes back to his enclosure for everyone to cheer and celebrate his return from the grips of death, essentially. Death grips! Ah! No. Unfortunately, Grape Coon learned that his partner for life had moved on and got with a younger penguin named Dinka. What a piece of shit she's for the streets. What a... And the rest of the flock, seeing this rejection from Grape Coon and Midori, they shunned him from the group as well. Poor little guy. Grape Coon was completely and utterly and entirely alone. Maybe one of the saddest stories that has ever existed. And this isn't even the fucking half of it. Dude pulls a straight up incel move, and I mean, what the But hold on, before we get to the incel shit, there's a little bit more. Midori and Dinka would have a child of their own named Beer, and this time the baby was not removed from the enclosure, but it was kept there, unlike Grape Coon's son, which was never seen again by him. At the same time, Grape Coon was shunned and rejected, living amongst his ex-wife and their new son and other penguins playing and mating. It reminded him constantly of his loneliness for 7 long fucking years. Until finally, April 2017, when this little motherfucker turned 21 years old, his life would completely change. The incel stuff started in 2017 when zoos around Japan started collaborating with a new show called Kimono Friends. And it was a show about anthropomorphic rare animals. Weebaroo shit. Weebaroo stuff, you know? But it would still bring awareness to animals and give zoos crazy amounts of exposure. People in Japan love arresting idiots and putting them in jail for a long time. As you can imagine, the Tobu Zoo became one of these Kimono Friends zoos, and they directly partnered up with the studio and the team behind Kimono Friends. And as a part of the collab, little ugly, weird cardboard cutouts were placed around. I just don't understand. Like, this is freaky. This is, if I was a bear, if I was this bear right here, I'd be fucking enraged if I saw that. That's some industrial society in its future type shit. Release me into nature. Release me. But in the penguin enclosure, a character named Hululu would be added, as many enclosures had their own specific characters in them. The penguin enclosure was a bit different though. A zoo visitor took notice to a certain penguin that took great interest in a cardboard cutout. That certain penguin, Grape Coon. Look at this little dweeb. Grape Coon would stare at this cardboard cutout for hours every single day. And then the zoo started to notice, and they began tweeting, giving everyone a background and story of Grape Coon. A 20-year-old penguin, a grandpa in penguin years. Now, me, someone who doesn't like to humanize animals that much, I would potentially just say, well, that penguin clearly is just interested in the cutout. It's really more of a stimulus thing. It's like his version of watching TV. Imagine you're a sim and you right-click and you hit admire on a sculpture. That is what the penguin is doing, but he's not in love. I mean, you can't predict an animal's thoughts, right? You don't know. But guys, guess what? Grape Coon would do the unexpected, and he would perform his sacred mating ritual on the cardboard cutout, trying to propose a holy matrimony with him. That's right. Dude thought that was real. Look at this. Am I badass enough for you, baby? So then the family tree was established. And we can see what happened. Beer's ugly, that little guy. He's an ugly little guy. And obviously, as a result of this, knowing the internet, Grape Coon became a legend for adopting a waifu as a wife for, or what is it? But yeah, right, yeah. Anyways, Grape Coon began to amass an army of fans. Even the team behind the show would eventually visit him, and the voice actor for the cardboard cutout that he was in love with even visited little Mr. Grape. Here she is with him. Oh, that's very cute. He's a bird and stuff. That's really funny. Grape Coon would spend his days staring at his fucking waifu for hours and hours on end every day. Dystopian. This is crazy because this is what real life is like, guys. This is society moment, I think. So things were going very well for Grape Coon, but eventually the promotion between Kimono Friends and the zoos around Japan would end, and that meant all the cardboard cutouts needed to be removed. And the zoo decided, rightfully so, that it would be a terrible idea to remove the cardboard cutout from Grape Coon's enclosure because of his roller coaster of hell life that he's had. And luckily, it was only removed once, and that was to be protected from a storm. And you can see this. His wife was being taken away. A little guy. But she was added back, so he got cheered up. He didn't move on. He doesn't move on like that Midori. Then later that year, still 2017, on October 9th, the zoo would announce a special event for Grape Coon. But then the next day, after the announcement of Grape Coon's event, it was announced, again, that he was not feeling well. Grape Coon had been removed from his enclosure along with his beautiful waifu. The event canceled. And the community, hoping for the best. And then finally, Grape Coon passed away with his waifu by his side. Community was absolutely crushed, as you could probably imagine. No one has ever cared more about a penguin ever in history than in this moment, in which all these people gathered around Grape Coon and his beautiful, sad incel story. They even set up a fucking shrine for people to pay respects at the zoo. And they even left the cutout in the penguin enclosure, but changed the art to this. Adorable, dude. Look at him. There's little Grape Coon there hanging out with Honolulu, or whatever her name was. So Grape Coon may have had a hard life, but he is forever immortalized as the husband, officially on the wiki, for Hululu, for this fucking show, or whatever the hell it is. She's a penguin woman. Grape the Penguin is her official canon husband, so weebs can't call her their waifu anymore. And that's awesome. I love a good incel success story. The internet is definitely a marvel, but also it's a big, stinking, deep, scary turd berg with Turd Boy in it and Grape Coon, etc. It's a tool for any kind of moral or immoral intentions. It can be used and abused. Anyways, thank you for watching. The internet is a terrible place, full of terrible and horrible, evil, sick people. Disgusting. And you may have heard of the icebergs. Basically, an iceberg is just a way to condense down a bunch of different topics and to illustrate just how deep some rabbit holes go. Icebergs generally explore the absolute reaches and horrors and the deepest, darkest corners of different topics, usually things that can be easily examined on the internet. Today, the Oompaville team has brought you the Thing Iceberg, a bunch of random shit that's really freaky that we learned about by searching the deepest, darkest, furthest reaches of the internet. The Homunculus Chronicles. 7 years ago, a YouTuber by the name of Cuxadilla injected human sperms into a chicken egg and then fertilized that egg to create a monster. This monster is colloquially known as the homunculus, the first of its kind born in the modern era. You see, the homunculus is a thing of ancient history. Alchemists of ye times onder past. This guy claimed to have made a homunculus on YouTube, okay? That's what I'm saying. This series of videos sparked
C'est ton fait. C'est ton fait. Oh, là, c'est ton fait. 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 Oh, là, c'est ton fait. C'est ton fait. C'est ton fait. Oh, là, c'est ton fait.
What's up, guys? Fearless G-Man here. I just watched the new episode of Skibidi Wars, and it's insane. Love you, bro. It in the next episodes, and there will be some questions to answer. What is this com race exactly? Is it referring to a computer race because of the computer icon?
Yeah, we're good. Godzilla here with yet another Godzilla cringe. So, Godzilla Minus One is already being regarded as the best Godzilla film in both Japan and the US. Hell, in Japan, it made a whopping 1 billion yen in Japan, which is like 7.8 million US dollars. And keep in mind, Shin Godzilla made 75.4 million in Japan when it first debuted. And as of recording this video, they were able to release a premiere of Godzilla Minus One in the US. and we're already getting positive feedback from the film itself. Here's one such example. Last night, I went to see Godzilla Minus One at the Tokyo International Film Festival. Shock after shock, despair after despair. The images of people who have been hit with unimaginable horrors, who have had everything uprooted, but still do not give up and fight back to find hope for tomorrow. I have witnessed the birth of a new Godzilla movie that has never been seen before. Whoa, that's deep, man. Overall, pretty good stuff. And you think that all the G fans would be rejoicing in excitement for this whole news coming out. No. Surprise? Probably not. I honestly don't understand some G fans. They're always asking for more Godzilla content, but it never seems to satisfy some. They always feel the need to find reasons to either not watch the film or just nitpick for the sake of nitpicking. Now, don't get me wrong, I am sort of guilty of this too. However, I will say, I don't nitpick for the sake of finding reasons on why a Godzilla film will be bad. He moves so comically fast and really breaks the immersion here, especially with the tone of the movie being so dreary. G fans looking for absolutely anything to complain. Sorry that I have a criticism with how the film doesn't seem consistent with its CG and overall tone. It's not like this didn't happen the whole franchise before. I don't see how the speed he moves affects the tone at all. I think it doesn't ruin the immersion. It actually fits it. But immersion? Yes, the 50-meter atomic dinosaur moving slightly faster than expected when it fires his death laser is what kills it. Yes, sir, there are just some you can't satisfy. Usually when it comes to certain discussions, they're usually civil and respectable, and are able to either agree with one's point of view on certain things, or just sort of, let's agree to disagree. But in the end of the day, they're overall just civil and respectable. However, what if I told you that there was one such G fan that would make it their personal mission to convince the other, no matter what, that their opinion is true? Well, I hope you got your bleach ready, because I'm about to show you one such example of such individual. So not too long ago, an Instagram page known as Kaiju News Outlet released a post regarding the rating of the film Godzilla Minus One, and it was said that it'll be a PG-13 Godzilla film. So obviously, that is to be expected, wouldn't you say? Well, one certain G fan was hoping for a rated R Godzilla film. And also, a little bit of a fun fact, you'd be surprised of the countless few Godzilla fans that actually wish for a Godzilla rated R film. And to those individuals, I'll have to say, keep wishing, because you're never gonna get one. Anyway, this person made it their personal mission to convince others who don't mind the rating that Godzilla Minus One receive. Paragraph after paragraph, response after response. This person was very much unhinged and cringe with some of his points. Now, what I'm about to show you, ladies and gentlemen, is the unhinged insanity of this particular G fan. Here are some of the screenshots I took from that thread.
What? Alright! All of you better go back to your places right now! No!
PG-13 is such a pussy rating. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the first screenshot here. The first thing this person ever said was that PG-13 is such a pussy rating. Now, I just want to point this out. You may have noticed that I have censored this individual's username and profile picture, mainly because this person believes that bad publicity is good publicity. So, I'm not going to give this person the spotlight. So, if you guys are really curious on who this person is behind the scenes, you could go to the Kaiju News Outlet post. But then again, at the same time, once I start reading these screenshots here, the messages back and forth, you're probably gonna know who this person is. Not really. It's just not gory or violent enough to earn a rated R rating. That's the problem. It should have been. Remember, Japan has a different rating system. To them, it could be rated R, but for us, it's not. Why does a Godzilla movie need to be rated R? Having Godzilla be a bloody, gore-centered monster would take away from his character, I feel. A movie can be just as iconic without being rated R. Because this Godzilla is about the horrors of war, not a Disney family fest. Having Godzilla be a bloody, gore-centered monster would actually improve the character. Godzilla was never meant to be a PG-13 kiddie fest, and neither does this movie. Kids should watch Lightyear or Spider-Verse, not a Godzilla movie about war. So already, after reading some comments here, this is very much insane on what he's trying to compare this to. Lightyear, Spider-Verse are completely different from Godzilla. It's pretty unfair to compare the two. It's nonsense. What are you yapping about, lol? What makes you think this movie is going to be kiddie fest? In any way? People get so irrationally upset over movie ratings, they try to make up arguments and justify themselves. It's so desperate, it's hilarious. It's way more hilarious that you're shilling for a garbage lame rating. Shilling? No, Slime. Who cares about the rating? It's a Godzilla movie. Anyone who isn't an ignorant fanboy shill like you are lost since you are that triggered by me wanting the movie to be R-rated. Trust me, you care much more than I do. You aren't just wanting an R rating, you are whining and moaning about it. I don't know why everyone is so obsessed with having a rated R Godzilla movie, especially since Godzilla was never intended to be portrayed as a violent, bloody behemoth. Godzilla at its core possesses political and environmental messages, not bloody horror. Portraying humans being brutally slaughtered because of Godzilla would be unnecessary, hence why they never do it. If you're so fixated on blood and gore in a monster, Godzilla may not be the right cinematic beast for you. Gore doesn't equal good. LMAO, how would gore improve Godzilla as a character? The fuck? It would improve it by showing the horror and terror it generates. Horror relying on gore is a cheap trick. It wouldn't improve it. It would make Godzilla actually look terrifying and not some family-friendly villain fest. On the contrary, I don't know if you have heard, but the movie, if anything, has been getting nothing but praise to it. Everyone who attended the Japanese premiere all say the same thing. The movie is amazing, really dark, and even heartbreaking. PG-13 really is not an issue at all, if everyone is loving it. You have plenty of war movies that are PG-13, that are loved by many. Dunkirk, Warhorse, Unbroken, hell even Wonder Woman 2017, all had war, and the effects they had on people without being gory or rated R. Gore doesn't always make everything good. You still see on hundreds of people die on screen, and plenty of